Agut in Chodesh Rabboisai. To explain, first of all, Hayoim Chamisha Asar Yoim Sheim Shnei Shavuos VeYoim Echad Ba'Omer or La'Omer Yishkoyach Nechemia Seltzer for putting this together. Yishkoyach to Yaakov Sitron for sponsoring a beautiful breakfast with sushi, sandwiches, mamish, all out. L'Kovid Rosh Chodesh and L'Kovid. Oh, so let me explain for a second. I believe that we have Nissim in our lives every day, and you just have to open up your eyes to see them. One of the Nissim that I see in my life, Nissim Gluyim, and I talk about it a lot, is happening today. 2,000 days ago is when I started my streak. And it's not a simple streak, it's preparing a daf every day. It's not just learning the daf, it's preparing. It takes many hours every day. And to go 2,000 days straight, whoever knows my personality knows that 100 days is a nice nigla. And I remember when it was 500 days, I remember where I was, and our surfer friend sent me, he made the Cal Ripken thing or whatever it was. I remember I couldn't believe how did I go 500 days straight? It's like for me, it's not possible. I never did anything more than 5 days straight, 10 days. I started working out many times. Different things different books that I started reading. I'm in middle right now of 10 of Nachman Seltzer's books. I got to chapter 2. I'm not kidding. I never finished a single book in my life. I shouldn't say that. A few. Very, very few. So be'emes, and now all you need to do for me, I want to give chizuk to the olam. If I could do it, anybody could do it. Be'emes, anybody, because anybody here in this room, I know, has more of a consistency than me in personality. I'll just give you one example of the Nes Nigla. We had a very bad stomach bug going through the hotel. One guest came on the first day and got everybody. There was not a single family that didn't have people that were sick, and what it did was people threw up 20 to 30 times and they couldn't hold down any liquid, zero water. My wife had it for 2 days straight. She had to get an IV. Every one of my kids got it. Every one of my grandchildren got it. And I'm sitting there, I'm saying, I wasn't scared. Listen, I went through this before. Everybody had corona around me, nothing. I'm a shliach of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I have a certain siyat shmai because of the tzibur. I believe the tzibur pushes, the tzibur is davening, and something's going on. I don't know what. To me, it's a nice nigla. When 90-something% of the hotel got sick, and every single person, to the point that even one of my sons said, I didn't get it either. Boom, he was out cold 3 days ago. I might get it today, who knows? It's still shy. Anyway, so to me, it's a nice nigla. 5+ years, not to have a virus or. I don't want to open my mouth, but it's a chizuk, I think, for everybody. And I think the Rebbeinu Shalom for 2,000 days, halavai, I should finish Shas like this and continue weiter. Yishkoyach Yaakov Sitron. What do we have here? Real quick. First of all, we have with us a person I'm not allowed to talk about. Too bad. You have to be maskim. The coveted tzibur, I could say a few words. We have a person here, Reb Shlomi Rosenberg. I don't know. I can't. I don't want to say something too low, so I'm going to go very low. Very low. Oh, they're blocking the camera over there. That's okay. So put them under the chair. Here, pick up that plastic chair. Put it under the foot of the chair. The zero. No. Just the right, just like that. Gewaldig. Nobody's watching you. Don't worry about it. Reb Shlomi Rosenberg, I'm going to say Guzma. I'm going to say he gives at least 1 hour of his day to MDY for the last how many years? Brachas Daf Beis. Be'emes. Every Gemara that went out, anybody that got a free Gemara, it all went through Shlomi. He shipped it. The amount of emails that every email that comes in, he responds to, and all these, that's all Shlomi, and all Betsina. He doesn't let me say his name, and I don't care now. I know him for so many years. Too bad. You Michael? No, it's gonna be a chizuk for somebody else. So Yishkoyach Gadol for coming, Yishkoyach for everything that you do. Yankee Freeman says he was flying to Tzanz on a Lalechet charter. I bumped into someone watching your amazing shir. Here it is. And this is Moshe Einhorn's son. It's his first siyum ever, Be'ezer Hashem. A gross yishkoyach to Moshe and everybody. You know, Moshe put together all the breakfast. We all know who does it. And I want to say yishkoyach to those who go over to him on a daily basis and say, how come you didn't do breakfast today? Yishkoyach to you guys also. Rabbi Isai, this was a very touching, moving moment yesterday. This bacher right over here, Aaron Kovner, comes to the Hebrew shir every single night. I read an email of his in the past, but here he is, making a siyum on 6 Masechtas and 500 daf that he accomplished this year. I asked Kobe Goldschmidt, our Hebrew editor, to put some English subtitles, because I'm just going to show a minute or so. Here we go.
במצב שבו אני נמצא היום, לא הייתי ככה לפני שנה. לפני שנה הייתי בדרך, לא ללכת לשום מקום. להישאר, לגמור הכל, נמאס לי מהחיים, נמאס לי מהכל. אני רוצה להודות לרב אלי, שבזכותך אני היום יושב ולומד 5, 6, 7 שעות רצופות ביום, 500 דף בכל זמן חורף, וכל זה בזכותך רב אלי. כמובן גם בזכות אבא ואמא והרבנים, אבל בעיקר מה שאתה גרמת לי, שינית לי את החיים. אני היום, אין לי אפילו איך להסביר את זה. אני היום במצב, כולי השתניתי מקצה לקצה. לא הייתי במצב שלא עשיתי כלום, הייתי יושן מבוקר עד ליל, כולם ידעו כמה אהבתי לישון. לא הייתי עושה שום דבר, הייתי נכנס לשיעורים. גם זה, לא באמת. והיום אני שואף לשיעורים ספציפיים, יושב ולומד כל היום, מקיים מצוות. עושה כל מה שהקדוש ברוך הוא מבקש, כמה שאני יכול וכמה שיותר.
Bekitzer, it goes on, but so mazel tov to him. And Rabbi said to remind the Olam that we are starting. It happened so quickly. We usually start pushing a Masechta like 23 days before the Masechta starts, and here we started a new Masechta. Shlomi doesn't know what to do with himself. Like, how many people are getting Shavuos Masechta? 0. Maybe we have to give. We still have to give all those people that finished Makkos, no?
My name is Shmueli Unger. I'm from Manchester. I just started the show with Reb Eli from Makkos, and I'm loving it. It's good to do the daf.
He's 11 years old, this kid, from Manchester. Rabbi said, I can't read this whole email because I'm very late, but I have to read some of it. Eli Geller from Lakewood made a siyum on Sanhedrin. He schlepped his chavrisa. He convinced his chavrisa to do the daf. It's his first Masechta ever. I see if I can find his name here. Kitzer, it's in here somewhere. You see, no, that's Dr. Chaim Newman. That's something else. He has a group that he put together, and everybody does. He says over there, I think it's a kiss from Hashem. The daf Chof, today's daf, talks about the isurim of cutting the payas and beard as it falls out of Rosh Chodesh ear. I think it's an interesting point that he makes, because today, all of Klal Yisrael, if you hold this minhag or that minhag, today's the day that nobody's really shaving their payas and their beard. All of Klal Yisrael is united in the morning. The Lord's Rebbe Kiva's Talmidim, just as the daf unites all of Klal Yisrael, and we always like to unite in the coming of Mashiach. Mazel Tov, Eli Geller, Rabbi Isa. Here we go. Oh, I do have to do the sponsors. Wow. Yisroel Cherns in honor of my chavrisa Shmueli Unger. Szlafrok Family, member of their uncle Simmy Schaer, Simcha Yisrael, Naftali Tzvi A. Anonymous, may our learning bring us closer to one another into Hashem. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shakor.
Respond to that.
That person. Szlafrok bas Yosef, Hatzlacha B'Parnasa, Yoni Klestzick, Refuah Shelamah, Yehudit Brayna bas Tzfora Rivka, Paras Birevach Baruch Nissim ben Shoshana Leah, Jeff's Gourmet, Los Angeles Ishkoyach, more Miriam Landy, for that Hatzlacha of all our children. The Koil sponsor for the month. Thank you to Rebelli's wife and the kids and great sacrifice they make, allowing him to spread Torah to the masses. Yesterday, the Koil took a test on from the beginning of Shas till today. It's almost 2,000 daf. Amazing. Weekly sponsors Yosef Ezra in loving memory of Yehosua Ben Shimon Dov. Daily sponsors Levi Friedman, Shkoyach Moshe Einon and Avi G. Shkoyach Levi Friedman. Beres Chaim Levin Lili Nishmas, my nephew, Harav Shmuel Chaim Zechron Levrach Ben Yibal Chaim Rev Tzvi Yehuda Levi, who lived yesterday. He learned Torah his entire life with these surim besimcha. His neshama should have an aliyah.
Amen.
Nasan Tzvi Bamstein Lili Nishmas Chano Bas Leib. And Alyssa and Sam Ross, in memory of Moshe Yosef Ben Yona, passed away 3/24/25. His neshama should have an aliyah. And the MDY Kids Monthly Innovations, Chus for Fischel, Chana and Akiva, Rivka and Mrs. Stefansky. Art of the Month, Refuah Shelamah for Yonatan Eitan Ben Basheva Bracha, Refuah Shelamah for Chus for Rebellion, the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah so enjoyable of so many, in honor of Yossi Klein and Mark Ashkenazi for all the work they do. We are holding all the way on the bottom, well, 3 lines from the bottom of your test on the base. I have a riddle only for those who don't know. How's it possible to be over on one act, do one act, and be over on 6 million lavim? I'm making it easy. I'm giving you a hint. Be over on 6 million lavim, which each one requires you to get Malkus. You're going to go into Bezdin and get Malkus until the last day of your life. Even if you live to 240 years, you'll still get Malkus because it's 6 million Malkus times 39.
Saying something stupid and shit.
6 million?
All the union, all the people learning, all the mitzvahs.
I want to say something, but I'm going to control myself. I want to say that what you just said is stupid and sheer. No, I'm just kidding. How do you do 6 million lav in one shot? Okay, those who know. Those who know.
Why is everyone looking at me?
Do you know?
I venture to say something like you're drinking water with some kind of like bugs in it. Millions of bugs. Drink lots of area.
No, it has to do with the Shoah. 6 million. What did you say, Levi? The sponsor has it because he's sponsored. We'll let you say. What do you say?
Cut yourself because of the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Oh, if you cut yourself, one cut, and you say it's because of the Holocaust, you're over 6 million lavim. We're going to see. Zogt the Gemara. Meisvei Rabbi Yossi Omer. Rabbi Yossi, yesterday we learned about Ma'aser Sheni. I'm enjoying this whole Ma'aser Sheni thing. If you don't, it's possible that people that enough of this already. Then we have a Mishnah. We're starting a brand new sugya about beards and payas and all sorts of very, very interesting halachas. So yesterday we were talking about Ma'aser Sheni. Ma'aser Sheni is the 10% of your produce that you're permitted to eat yourself in Yerushalayim. Rabbi Yochanan says you're over Malkus. The Mishnah says you get Malkus if you eat it outside of Yerushalayim. Says Rabbi Yochanan, no, stop. It's not if you eat it outside of Yerushalayim. It means if you brought it into Yerushalayim and took it out of Yerushalayim, in that case you're over. So the Gemara asks, Meisvi Rabbi Yossi Omer, Kohen shall also be Oditeina shel Tevel. A person has one fig and it's Tevel. A Kohen has one fig. We'll see. A Kohen, soon it's Yisrael. One fig. What's Tevel? Tevel means you didn't separate properly the Truma and the Meiser. So, here we go. Here's a fig. Omar Te'ena Zu Trumasa Ba'ukza. How much Truma are you supposed to give? You can give anything, a small amount, 1%, less than a small 1%. So he says, you also have to say where you're going to designate that Truma. You want to be able to eat this fig. So you say, okay, the Truma part is going to be on the top. Meiser Rishon B'tzvayna.
Not the Aretz itself. Under it.
I guess, yeah, a little. That's why I did the arrow a little bit lower, but yeah.
It has to be under the Aretz.
The top point, edible, fine. Omar Tayin Zu Trumasa Bukta Meiser Rishon 10%. I'm giving 10%. B'tzvayna. It's on the northern side. The Rivan says it's like the. I just did it because the Rivan said it was. To me, it was kind of annoying because I like north on top, but the Rivan said east on top. Okay, so east on top, so north is on the left. Lo Shana. The Meiser Rishon, which reminds me, because I'm terrible with north and west. So it's not good for a pilot not to know north and west. Very not good. When I was a student pilot, I got clearance to land on a runway. So I landed on a runway. He says, let's say he said, runway 32. So I landed, 32. I get down, the guy goes, sir, you need to call the FAA. You just landed on the wrong runway, and we might have to take away your license. What? Kids had to call up and explain to them, I'm just a student, I'm a shaita, and they're meichel me. They gave me. So not good, yeah. It's not very nice. Baruch Hashem, today there's GPS and there's different instruments that you could. But I have no clue, yeah?
2 has nothing to do with northwest.
32 is north.
32 is numbers.
360 is north. Oh, whatever. No, but it has to do with the sugya. Everything to do with the sugya. Vishnas meiser sheni vu. Meiser sheni l'dreva. So I got the 10% of the meiser. What's meiser rishon that I give to the Levi? I have the 10% that I give myself. Rabbi said, just because we got to do this again, everybody, all the new guys need to know this inside out. If you have 100 fruit, you give 1 or 2% to the kohen. Let's call it 2%. He gives it to the kohen. Now you're left with 98. Then you do something called meiser. You take from the 90, you take 10% of whatever's left over and give that to the Levi. Okay. And another 10%, which we showed 10 times already in this Masechta, of meiser sheni, you bring for yourself. You could eat it yourself in Yerushalayim, and you could redeem it for money, etc., etc. It's year 2, 1, 2, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. And he's this is very important. He's standing in Yerushalayim. Or it's years 3, 6, and you have to, instead of giving 10% to yourself, you give 10% to the poor. And he's outside of Yerushalayim. Now, this everybody should answer, but not with your mouth, just with your hand. Here's the question. Are you ready? If you know the answer, raise your hand. But you have to do this fast. If you know what is missing from this, what's missing here? He just gave this. What's missing? If you know the answer, raise your hand, because I'm going to call on you. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. What's missing? What's math? Truma. Truma, he said on the top. Here it is. Look in the top. It's there. He's close. No, what you in the back? There's a kid in the back. What do you? My son we spoke about. What? Trumas Meiser. That's the one that tricks everybody. That's the one that gets everybody. I think that's the hardest one, but that's the one that's missing. Trumas Meiser. It's very easy to remember. Just like you take truma from the fig, the Levi who gets on the left, the Meiser Rishon, he also has to give a truma to the kohen. He has to give 10% of whatever he got. Here, it looks something like this. We said this is the Meiser, right? The Levi gets 10%. Then you go to this one, and he has to remove from his 10%. He has to give 1 apple to the kohen.
But it's not missing from that fig.
Yeah, because he's a kohen.
That fig.
Time out.
He's a kohen.
That fig.
Kohen should also be able to take.
Okay, hold on a second. But he wasn't mafresh. He wasn't mafresh. He's not allowed to eat it. He wasn't mafresh. The Levi wasn't mafresh it. It's 10%. Hold on, let's see inside.
He has to be mafresh, not the
Yes. Achla, listen what happened. Achla, this individual, this kohen ate. He has a fig now, and in the fig, there's these things. Loika achas. He gets 1 set of malchus. Why? Because the meiser rishon is tevel. Nobody ever took anything off the meiser rishon. So what if he could get it in the future? Nobody was mafresh the truma out of the meiser rishon. The stuff on the left is as is. This 10%. that belongs to the Levi, and the Levi never gave 10% of what he was supposed to give. If the Kohen eats it now, he's over on Tevel of the Meiser Rishon. Now,
The Kohen is the one that's eating it.
yeah, but he was mafresh. You have to be mafresh.
The Levi is supposed to be married.
Okay, and then the Levi wasn't mafresh. The Levi wasn't mafresh. The Meiser Rishon. Right. Truma, the Kohen is not. Rabbi say, why is the Kohen not over on Truma? Because he's a Kohen, he's allowed to eat Truma. And yes, there was a little bit of Truma taken. Now, the Meiser Sheni, you whatever. The Meiser Rishon, anybody could eat Meiser Rishon. A Levi can give it to Yisrael even. So the only problem is that the Meiser Rishon is missing the Truma out of it. So that you get Malchus. V'zar sha'achla, and if you are a Yisrael and you eat this particular fig, like a shtayim, what is he going to get Malchus on the Yisrael in addition to the Kohen? On the Truma part. The Truma belongs to the Kohen and Yisrael ate it, so now he's get Malchus for the Truma, and he gets Malchus for eating Meiser Rishon. Shilu batchila achla, if, let's say the Yisrael ate this fig as is, without any Trumas or Meisers being removed, and like a la'achas. It's just tevel, one iser tevel. Now that we started separating, we're good, we're doing what we need to do, but we didn't finish the job, so now he gets 2 malchus. Time of this Yerushalayim. It says before that this story happened in Yerushalayim, right? It was the bottom line. Vishnas Meiser Sheni Vu Yerushalayim is in Yerushalayim. Habegvulin. It seems like if he's in Chutz La'aretz like a shalosh. What do we get? What do we get malchus? Out of Yerushalayim, correct. What would he get? Why? Because of Meiser Sheni. Now Meiser Sheni is eating Meiser Sheni outside of Yerushalayim. You get a 3rd malchus. So what do you see? Rabbi Yochanan said that you have to go into Yerushalayim and then go out of Yerushalayim in order to be over. Over here it doesn't say anything about going into Yerushalayim. It just says it seems like if he never made it to Yerushalayim, he's over on Meiser Sheni. So what's the obvious answer? He went in and he came out. So real quickly, I just want to show the Olam, because I think for me it was useful. This is here on purpose. This is the Gemara that we're giving out to Israelis that are joining or not joining, whatever. Okay, real quickly, because us Americans, we're not very familiar. Israelis that are born with this stuff, they know. Let's say let's call this 100 grapes. So today, what people do today, and I had people here in the shir that the guy has fruit growing in his backyard. I ate mafresh trumas today. Let's call this 100. You take off more than 1%, a little bit more than 1%. The goal is to get to exactly 1%. There's no way in the world a human being can figure out what is exactly 1%, because Meiser has to be exactly 10%. How are you going to figure it out? So it's very, very simple. What you do is you say that part of this grape is going to be truma. Now, truma could be anything. It could be a thousandth of this. It could be 10% of this. It could be anything. Who's going to decide how much it is? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He knows exactly, because you want to make this grape 1% of all your grapes. That's your goal. So the only way to do it is say, Hashem, I'm giving truma to the point, as much truma as I need to get that the rest of the grape is going to be 1%. So Hashem says, okay, this is how much it is. This much is truma, and the rest is going to be 1%. Now, I take another, I don't take them, I say 9 more grapes out of these 100, 9 more, plus this one equals how much? Exactly 10%. And that 10%, I'm setting aside on my grapes over here, on the right side of the grapes, on the northern side of my grapes, I'm setting it aside to be Meiser. That's my Meiser to the Levi. So far I have Truma, this little piece right over here is the Truma. This giant grape over here is 1% plus 9%. So now I have Truma and Meiser taken. And then I need to do Truma's Meiser. So I'm going to say this one grape out of the 10 grapes I set aside for Meiser is going to be the Truma's Meiser. So this one grape accomplishes 3 things. It's Truma, it's Meiser, and then I'm going to do the job of the Levi and be mafresh, the Truma's Meiser, the Truma that goes on the Meiser, and then I take this and throw it in the garbage. And then I could eat this. And I have to put it on the side time, and I also have to do Meiser Sheni. I have to do Meiser Sheni. Okay, whatever. I don't know how to do it. Put it aside. You let it rat. I also put Meiser Sheni on the side. I redeem it, but I have to designate this. It has to be in a certain specific spots. I say, in the northern part of my fruit is the meiser, the southern part of my fruit is my meiser sheni, etc. Okay, that's how they do it. It has to be yoiser from 1%, a little bit more than 1%, because that little bit more is the truma, and the 1% becomes the meiser, etc. Okay, weiter. It says over here that he was in Yerushalayim. He was in Yerushalayim. What's the chiddush? He was in Yerushalayim. If he's in Yerushalayim and he's eating meiser sheni, is there a chiddush that you're allowed to eat meiser sheni in Yerushalayim? Absolutely not. That's where you eat it. If it's coming to say a diuk that he's in Yerushalayim, but if he's not in Yerushalayim, he's over. What's the chiddush? If he went in and went out, then what's the chiddush? If he went in and out, there's no chiddush. Elamai l'chayra, the chiddush is that he never made it to Yerushalayim and he's still over, not like Rabbi Yochanan. So for that we have to find. The Gemara says 2 tries. What the big chiddush is over here? Again, he has meiser sheni and he's in Yerushalayim, he's over. What's the chiddush that he's in Yerushalayim? So chiddush number 1, very interesting chiddush. Here, like these grapes. I never did trumas and meisers with these grapes, and I bring them into Yerushalayim. So, and then I bring them out of Yerushalayim. In, out, and I eat the meiser sheni outside of Yerushalayim. Is that a case where Rabbi Yochanan would say that the meiser sheni was in Yerushalayim and came out? It was never meiser sheni. You hear this story? It's tevel. It's grapes in a bag. No, nobody touched them. Nobody did anything in terms of went into Yerushalayim, out of Yerushalayim. So we have a major chiddush Rabbi say that yes, there's something called v'kosavar matane shelihurmu kimishum hurmu damyan. And the Gemara is going to make a distinction. For certain things, I could pretend that this meiser sheni was set aside on the side of these grapes. I don't know where, here. And when it went into Yerushalayim, meiser sheni went in and meiser sheni came out. We're not viewing it as tevel, as unmeisered fruit. No, the meiser sheni is in a certain part. That's the chiddush. You ask me, what's the chiddush that he went into Yerushalayim, came out of Yerushalayim? Because he went in a tevel state, not in a meiser sheni state. That's the chiddush. And even though he came in tevel and came out tevel, you're over on eating meiser sheni outside of Yerushalayim, but it was never meiser sheni in Yerushalayim. I only made a meiser sheni after I came out of Yerushalayim. No, it's enough that you walked into Yerushalayim with them, even though they weren't meiser sheni. That's the chiddush. Does he really hold that? Every fruit has a finishing state. The famous one is with wheat, we always show the miruach. This is the finishing state, smoothing out the pile. Let's say you have a box of apples. You put the apples in a box. That's the finishing step, right? A person has a farm. What's the finishing state of an apple? He picks it today, he throws it through the machine today, they put the wax on it, then he puts it in the box. Oh, that's the finishing state. So if it was not finished, and it went into Yerushalayim, no, that's nothing. It's as if it never walked into Yerushalayim. Why? Because it came into Yerushalayim in an unfinished state. So where is the machlokes? You had the finishing state, you did the miruach, you did whatever you needed to do, you washed the grapes down, you put them in the bags. They went into Yerushalayim just unmeisered, untruma. Bisham says it's too late, because it's as if you already took the meiser sheni, so therefore you cannot do pidyon, you can't redeem them at all, right? Because once meiser sheni goes into Yerushalayim, you cannot redeem it. So even though it was never meiser sheni, but it's possible to do meiser sheni to them because it's already in the finished state, say b'shama, you cannot redeem them. We still said nothing happened there. The fact that you went into Yerushalayim with these fruit is zero. No, this is Beis Hillel. How can Rabbi Yossi argue with Beis Hillel? The halach is always like Beis Hillel. And if you say that we pretend that some of these fruit on the side are meiser sheni, once you go into Yerushalayim with them, the mechitzos grabbed onto the meiser sheni, you can no longer redeem them. Obviously, Rabbi Yossi cannot argue with Beis Hillel, so we have a big problem. So we're going to have to come up with another chiddush. Why does it say that this meiser sheni is in Yerushalayim? No, sorry. We're going to make a distinction. When it comes to eating outside of Yerushalayim after you walked into Yerushalayim with these fruit that were never had meiser sheni to them, we're going to consider it as if you took meiser sheni from them, even though you didn't. and you're going to get Makkos for eating them outside of Yerushalayim. But in terms of redeeming the Meiser Sheni, that it's not considered as if it went into Yerushalayim. Only in terms of eating and getting Makkos is it considered going into Yerushalayim. In terms of redeeming, no. Why? When it's literally Meiser Sheni in front of you, but in this state, unmeisered fruit, Rabbanan didn't say that you can't redeem. Ravina Omar, and Ravina says the big chiddush is Kigoy Dinokale Bekanya. So yesterday we had Rav Papa's question, and Rav Papa remained in a teiku. What was his question? What happens if a person, the human being himself, is inside the mechitza of Yerushalayim, but has a long stick, or he's towing a trailer, Avremi's MDY trailer, with the fruit? So the chiddush is, I'm going to tell you, yesterday we didn't have an answer, teiku. Today we do have an answer. The answer is, it's considered as if the fruit are inside Yerushalayim. And if you eat them in this state, let's say the fruit never went into Yerushalayim, just a human being schlepping them on a stick went in, we're going to consider them as if the fruit went into Yerushalayim and came out of Yerushalayim. And if you're going to eat them now, you're going to get Makkos. Even though these fruit, it's a nice riddle. What? No, it's also to eat now. It's also to eat. The fruit is also to eat. It's ki'ilu. No. This case on the screen, where a human being is inside Yerushalayim and the stick is outside Yerushalayim with the fruit outside Yerushalayim, it's ki'ilu. The te'ina. We're going back. Why is it be Yerushalayim? Because the te'ina never made it into Yerushalayim. It's outside on a stick, but we're going to consider it ki'ilu in Yerushalayim. Zok the Mishnah brand new sugya. Huh? Oh, but Tifsha Baya there Papa. And we have an answer. No, could be I didn't read it. And we have the answer to yesterday's question, which we had a teiku. Here's the answer. According to this, it's considered as if it went in. You go after the person, not the stick, and not the towing. Says the Mishnah, Koreach Karcha B'Roishay. And this, Rabbi Yisai, just remember, this is only for people that are mourning on a dead person. HaKoreach Karcha B'Roishay. If a person pulls his hair out on his head, he rips hair out because he's at a levaya and he's in a lot of pain, he's over Issa Deraisa and he gets Elu and Aloikin, that's the top of the Mishnah, the top of the page, we're talking about Makkos. He gets Makkos. V'hamakiv pas roishay. And if a person cuts his payas, meaning, we're going to see, but it's from, there's a line, I'm going to show you we have pictures and everything, this area right over here, very dangerous area. If you cut it, even with the scissors or a barber machine, whatever it's called, what's it called? No, a haircut machine. You don't need a razor over here. If you go low down to the skin, you're over a iser deraisa and you get malchus. Mashchis pas konoi. Mashchis is a lashon of with a tar. You need to do with a razor blade. If you cut your beard with a razor blade, what is a beard? There's a lot of machlekes Shoshana. I'm going to show you exactly, but you cut here, according to most people, this is the beard. Use a razor blade over here. You have this to the right. Now, if you have a machine that's like a razor blade, it's very problematic. The Rebbe Eger asks a very interesting question. He says on Shabbos, and we're going to learn it also on Amud Beis about Shabbos, you're not allowed to use a brush that could potentially take your two hairs out on Shabbos. It's also to be toilet share on Shabbos. So how come people brush their payas? What if you take two hairs out? It's not a beard. It's payas is any kind of way to take off from this area. You're over the so now you have to be careful brushing your hair. The same way you have to be careful on Shabbos, you should be careful also. Hey, your son, Shalom Aleichem, son. I recognize them. It's Pella. Things are changing. Says the Gemara, says the Mishnah. If you cut yourself once for a dead, chayiv. When I was a kid in Bnei Brak, there's a terrible tragedy in my neighborhood. A little kid got ran over by a school bus. And as a curious Bnei Braki kid that I was, I went into the house. I wanted to see what happens, how the parents deal with it. There's a lot of people there. It's very traumatic. And the mother, she couldn't handle it. They had to drug her up to go to Levaya. But before they drug, she was cutting herself. She was ripping her skin out. And people don't realize. You don't go to yeshiva. You don't learn the daf. You might not know this. There's a frum person, just out of crazy pain, she was cutting her hand. That's the Isser over here. Yeah, no, it's like I'm not chas v'sholom migdan her. It's like obviously she didn't know, and I'm just saying it's a natural, I guess, reflex of human beings. V'asoret tzrita achas al hameis chayav. Sorat tzrita achas al chamisha meisim. What if he? Oh, and this is the big chiddush. This is the riddle. To me, it's a massive chiddush. He cut himself once, but had intent for 5 different dead people. So l'chayra, and I said this myself, but then my chavrisa told me, and other people said, yeah, Rav Shteiman already asked that riddle on the 6 million. It's obvious here in the Mishnah. Oy chomesh sritois al meis echad, or he cut himself 5 times on what dead? Something like this. I don't know. Okay. 4. Oh, kasha, good kasha. Chayav kol achas v'achas. Chayav on each and every one. Ala roish shtayim. By the pace you chayav 2. Let me just show you the pace real quickly. Pace. So here goes. You cut it like that. Even with a machine, you're over. Here's where's the different things? Oh, this is crazy. This is a non-Jew. But this is what it looks. This is mamish hakavas harosh. Right there is hakavas harosh. Now, I need to point this out. There are people that watch the shir. I have a lot of good friends. It's a thing in America. I'm not exactly sure how it started and why it happens, but we got to talk about it. There are people who are bald, and in order to look good, they shave their whole head. There is no heter. We can't find the heter. La halacha, it's issa deraisa to shave your entire head. It's called hakavas harosh. You're cutting the payas. So some person told me, well, I'm doing my whole head. There is no heter. It doesn't help. We learned it in Mefurish, and the way to get out of it is to leave like enough that you could pull. I don't know what the halacha is. 2 millimeters. You have to be able to hold on to it. If you can't hold on to it, you're over issa deraisa. So these are just things that you could see over here. The point is the bone. Here, we have a picture here of the bone. Here, this one right over here. The payas have to go up to that bone. Now, they don't have to be the Elvis style, up to here, the big, thick, like the yeshiva guys do, up to the bone. But above the bone, even with a machine, like making it nice and thin, above here, thinner, is aser. That's what it shows here in this picture. Right? Where is it? Going like that, making a design out of it above the bone becomes the iser, and making it shorter than the bone. And over here, this is I think a better poster. Somebody sent it this morning, so I threw it in. This somebody here. The orange is very, very bad, but the issues that people have, and these are real pictures of even Hasidim. You can see kids in Hasidim when they make it really nice next to the ear with the machine. That's super problematic. Right over here. Today in Eretz Yisrael, they give a hechsher for barbers. They give you a course, and you think that you say you're not going to. This is what I think a lot of barbers do. This right over here. Okay. Now you'll say, but I'm just sitting in the seat. And I'm not really doing it, he's doing it. And I go to a goy barber. So the lav is on the nikif and the makif. The one doing it and the one getting it. And we're going to see how. Because really it's a lav shein b'maisa, so we have to see in how you over. Okay. Here we go, Rabbi say, here's the beard. You see the beard? There's a bunch of shitas. This is Rashi, according to most. This is Rashi, according to others, and there's the Rivan. Rashi, according to others, it's 3 right over here. 1, 2, 3. Like the 3. This one is a little higher up. Because that's why do not shave anywhere, because maybe smack over here would be mutter. Over here, but don't mess around. What?
The Yankees shave over here. They keep over here because of the 3, and they keep over here.
Really?
It's because the sheep is.
So they do shave over here. It's like. If you do it in one shot, doesn't have to be in 1 second, but in one sitting, without a hefsek, you only chayev 1. You have to use a razor blade. Rebbe Lezer Oimer, afilu lekote b'malket, or berehitni chayiv. Even if you use a planer, this is a rehitni. And by the way, Stam, Gishmak video, I couldn't believe it. Look, you can use this. Oh, we don't need so much music for this. But you can make, there's a whole competition how thin you can make it. Okay, fine. But more important is this. But it's really the beard, so we're going to go to the beard now. The barber's enjoying himself. Okay. Chayiv. Torah Rabbanon lo yikichu afilu korach arba v'chomesh krichos lo yeh chayiv elachas. What's the point of this? Because if you look at the pasuk, it says lo yikichu karcha. This is a double lashon. So the word karcha is extra. What I learned from it, even 4 or 5 times, I would think lo yeh chayiv elachas. I would think you only chayiv one. The reason why the Torah repeated itself, karcha, to teach you chayiv on each and every one. It says Beroisham in that pasuk. Look, it says Beroisham. Matam loymar. The word "lis is good" Rabbi say over here means do not cut. Everybody thinks "lis is good" means don't make groups. Over here means don't cut. You shouldn't make yourself bald between your eyes, like tefillin. Maybe the whole list is right over here where you put your tefillin on. But let's say over here, I schlepped my hair out for a mace right on the side. I'm not chayiv. Maybe I would say that. It says by the kohen, it says Beroisham, l'rabis kol harosh. By the kohen it means the entire head. It's not dafka by the tefillin. Oh, maybe dafka kohen, we have to be super machmir because he has extra stuff. Yisroel menayin, nemekan karcha. It says by the Yisrael, by all of Klal Yisrael, it says the word karcha. It says by the kohen karcha. Just like by the kohanim, you're chayiv on the entire head. You're chayiv on each and every one. If you do 5 of them, you're chayiv 5 times, and you're chayiv on the whole head. And by the Yisrael, we're talking about he's doing it because he's sad for a dead person. It says before in the pasuk over there, al-meis. Afkan al-meis, so too by the kohen, it's talking about he's doing it for the dead. In other words, there's no isser. If a guy has a bad habit and he pulls his hair out in the middle of Seder while he's learning, he's not chayiv. It's only when he does it by Levaya. Were you here since your surgery? I said hello to you? Full shlema again. How do you over 4 or 5 times? If it happened one after another, you did one at 12 o'clock, one at 1 o'clock, and it was 5 different warnings from the Eidim, Pshita, of course, you're chayiv. So you want to tell me there was one warning? So why you be chayiv 5 times? If you have a nazir, he's drinking wine the whole day. Remember, lit, Rabbi said this is a new and improved lit. Look at him. Look, it even says on his shirt, it's lit to do the daf. Those from Nazir, remember. Nazir yain kol hayoim, einu chayiv elachas. A guy who's drinking wine all day, he's in a bar all day, he's only chayiv 1 malchus. But if they gave him a bunch of warnings, and he drinks in between after every warning, so over here also, if there's only 1 asra, he shall only be chayiv once. Why is he chayiv 5? Says the Gemara, he did something like this, Rabbi Isai. He put his 5 fingers in this cream. In those days they had very powerful cream. It seems like the hair never grew back. And he put it on his head. And then he removed it. And now he has 5 bald spots. So now he's chayiv on the 5 bald spots. What's the chiddush? The chiddush is that even though it happened together simultaneously, but at the end of the day, you can't say, oh, he's chayiv malchus for the one on the right, not the one on the left. So you're going to give him malchus on each and every one. It's not considered one because it's 5 different places. That's the chiddush. I said this before, I'll say it again because I'm going to see my brother. He's coming in for my mother's yard site, which is this week. My brother's bar mitzvah, he's a few years younger than me. I was about 15, so that means I was only 2, no, it can't be. So I must have been older, 18, 19. And I decided maybe I should be makbid on the Chazon Ish. Chazon Ish said, don't use a machine, use this cream. So I go to the store, I buy cream, and I'm going to do a geshmak hashay for my brother's bar mitzvah. It says in the ingredients, so it says in the instructions, leave it on for 5 minutes. I'll leave it on for 15. What could happen? I basically came without skin. I showed up like a tomato. It was red, it's unbelievable. And that was the last time I ever used that cream. And since then, I'm not makbid on the Chazon Ish. So there's asra. It's as if there's asra in each and every one of those bald spots of these guys right over here. Oh, sponsor, sorry. Turning of the daf, just to get there. Dar Global, one-stop shop for all your financial needs. Innovation zealousy in honor of our sons Kalmo, Yisroel. For learning Sanhedrin Makkos with the Rebelli, in honor of Adar Global and Innovations, true role models of how to support the daf and learning. I want to say again, for all those many people who don't watch the emails, I got an email today that says, I held that the emails are mamish b'l Torah deraisa, but now I hold it's a chiyuv to watch it, to listen to it. So for all those, I want to say, Akar Satov to Rebbeinu Shalom, that today is my 2,000 days straight giving a shir. Giving a shir 2,000 straight, it's unbelievable, and it could be a chizuk. Everybody, if I could do it, anybody could do it. V'kama shir karcha. What is the shir? Rav Huna Omer, Kedei shira miroisha. You can see your scalp. If you pull out enough hair that there's no hair covering, you see the skin. The size of a bean. Kigris. Let's see, where's the gris? No, not yet. Barley's coming up. This is a full, in Hebrew, kigris. We're going to get to barley in a second. Like we said before, to see the skin. We actually have a three-way machlokes. Chad omer kigris, like a bean. V'chad omer kedei shira miroishay, to see the skin. V'chad omer kishtei sa'aros, the size of 2 hairs. So we're going to see in a second how much is a gris then. And some people take out the 2 hairs and put in a lentil. So lentil, how big is a lentil? A lentil is 4 hairs worth. And a bean is 9 of these adashim. So in other words, 4 times 9 is 36. So they say the shear, according to if it's like a bean, is 36 hairs. There's a Mishnah that says, here's our Metzora guy. So if a guy has a white spot the size of a bean, and inside the white spot he has a piece of healthy skin the size of a lentil. So you'll remember that we're talking about a bean and a lentil. Not a bean in here, but a bean and a lentil. Let's say a guy has a scissor. Scissors, at the end of the scissors, he goes and he cuts his hair on Shabbos. He gives himself a haircut, literally a haircut, a 2 haircut. He's chayiv, because that's the end of the scissors. How much, what does it mean? How much comes off by the point of the scissors? 2 hairs. Ask the Gemara, how can it be 2? It doesn't fit in. If I'm going to tell you, karcha is 2, and the first halacha is piyazug. So that means it's 2 different things. There's a piyazug, and that's 1 shear, and then a second later it says, but if you're giving yourself a bald spot, it's 2. So it can't be that zug and shtayim are the same thing. Ema, so you have to answer v'chein l'karcha shtayim. Pia zug means 2 hairs, and the next halacha is, and if you give yourself a bald spot, the same halacha will apply, it's 2. Tanya nami hachi, hanoitam lo pia zug b'shavas chayav, v'kam lo pia zug, how much is it? Shtayim. Rebbe Lezer oimer achas, only 1 hair, mamsh, literally, a haircut. 1 hair. Umoyd v'chachon le Rebbe Lezer, and the halacha is b'melakit levonos metoich shchoros, and so here we come into halacha, this negeh to us. If a person removes, like the Gemara, that a person had 2 wives, a young wife and an old wife, and the young wife used to pull out all the white hairs, and the old wife would pull out all the black hairs. A person is not allowed to pull out his white hairs. Why? Even the weekdays. So this is a very complicated sugya. It's everybody should ask the Rav, because there's a lot of halachas that are going to get to us today. There's a lot of people in this neighborhood that I know that do laser, dyeing hair, for instance. Well, when could you, when can't you? When it's something that women do and men don't do, that's le'yilbash. So, I guess women would pull out their white hair. So you're not allowed to pull out your white hair. If it's common in society that everybody pulls out their white hair, even men, okay. What society? Does it mean in the frum world? Does it mean in the non-frum world? Because they do a lot of funny things in the non-frum world. Do we go by them? So this is a shaila you have to ask a Rav. There's a whole tshuva in Moshe. If a person, let's say, is embarrassed, a person needs it for his job, a person needs it for shidduchim. I know an 18-year-old that has white hair. It's it's hereditary. What? It wasn't a streak of white hair. Is he permitted to dye his hair? So Ramesh talks about it. So everybody should ask the Rav. Laser, big thing today. Laser.
Chaim held the watches in this.
Chaim held that. Yeah. I know he held it, but his shver held not like him. So that's everybody ask your Rav. About Makiv, okay. What else could we speak about in that term? Just trying. We spoke about already plastic surgery, all these things that are to beautify yourself. Here's the shayla. This just gives an idea. Is one permitted? He's 45 years old. He wants to get a good shtel and a shul. Is he allowed to dye his beard a little white? I'm asking. Shiloh, what do you say?
Yeah.
No, it would grow up. It was Rav Lezer. It was in the Gemara that he got a white beard. Oh, that's not something women do. That's an akuda. You said it, but it's not something women do.
What I just said.
You said that's something men do. Right, men. They laugh. Okay, I don't have a Gemara cup. I'm supposed to be dieting what you said. Yeah. But it's very good. Okay, that's something else. Your name is Das. Wow, what a honest son you got over there. It's your name is Das. Okay, listen. And when you go on a job interview and you pretend that you're young, you put on you dye your hair black because you want them to think that you're 32 years old. That's not your name is Das.
You can do it.
Okay.
It's a raya that you can do it from Moses and Nazario. He was 18 and Hashem
did it.
Right. So you see that Kadosh Baruch Hu was showing that even though he's not that, Hashem did it to him.
Hashem did him. His name is Das.
His name is Das. He's 18 and Hashem made him look older.
No. Rabbi said we got to do Shachris.
Nobody woke up the next day and thought he was 7. You know he was 18.
Tana Rabbanan Pas Roishoy Soif Roishoy Veza Soif Roishoy. Zeh Mashvetz Dov Lachori Oznoi Lepadachtoy. We saw this whole sugi before. We'll just show it again. Right over here. Zdov is you have this bald spot right over here, and you make a line from here, the temple, the temple, from here to the ear, to the back of the ear. Anything in that area is dangerous, is asur. In other words, he makes it nice and smooth like his forehead and his back. If you are the barber or you guy sitting in the chair, you're chayev. The big problem is if you're sitting in the chair, what did you do? Karkoilim, you did nothing. You're sitting like a klutz. You didn't do anything. You don't get malchus for not doing it. You have to take action in order to get malchus. If a guy, we had this before, but it's geschmack, so I'll do it again. A guy that's eating dates coming out of a sifter. Yeah, because he didn't do anything. He's chewing gum. You don't get malchus for that. Has to be Rabbi Yehudi. This only goes according to Rabbi Yehudi. You get malchus for not doing anything. But Rav Omer have a better idea. He took the machine and he went like this. Then he's over. But if the barber does it, you potter. If you move your head towards him, then according to everybody, you'll be over. So there's a whole shaila here. What if you go into surgery? Go into surgery? I'm surgery. They did it in surgery. They give an abortion. I don't know what. I'm in surgery. You do something that's also during surgery. I'm not involved. Here, look, I'm out. I'm unconscious. You're paying. No, but you're paying for his haircut. You're paying for a haircut. Exactly. No, it doesn't say. It says Messiah. You have to put your head towards it. It's not so pashut. But from the Gemara's mashma that paying is not a thing.
He's doing it for you. You're making
a lot of people. There are people that say like you. There are people that say like you. But it says in the Gemara you have to be Messiah. It doesn't say you pay for the haircut. It says Messiah. You have to help out. You have to lean into the barber. Then you're chayiv. Now mashchus pazkonoi. Torah rabbanon. Pazkonoi, soifskonoi, veza soifskonoi here, right over here. She boilskonoi. We'll go back to that picture. Stam. Why not? It's geshmak. The chin. Should we just do this? 2 minutes. If you cut yourself because you had a financial loss, you're not over. Talmud Loimar lo nefesh. I have to say real quickly, there was a guy who lost his whole business. He was a big storm, and all his ships went down. He had 10 ships went down. So they didn't know what to do. They knew he's going to faint. So they told the Rav, you got to go speak to him. So the Rav sits down and talking about bitachon and emunah. He says, Lamaisa, do you believe if HaKadosh Baruch Hu sunk one of your ships, do you think that he says, I wouldn't do anything. It's mamish hakol HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a plan. And he says, and if 2 ships, and if 5 ships, no, they're boidish loyal. And what if 10 ships? He says, everything's in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says, by the way, all 10 of your ships sunk. So the guy faints. He wakes up. He says, what? He says, I had all 10 ships, so you're telling me if a ship sinks, but now that Taka they went down, and that I can't be oimed, that not. So you have to, when it comes to bitachon, when it comes to you, when it gets to you, are you really standing in the test? Sorry. It's only when you do it for a dead person. And if you do 5 or 4, like in the picture, on one dead person, it's extra word. You know what? We'll stop right over here. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.